Hi traders, this is Thiago and welcome to Bull Bear Futures channel. Let's carry out today one more live transmission in our channel. This week is an important one. We have lots of indicators to be released from Wednesday to Thursday to Friday. So let's see what's going to happen. We've seen last week that prices tested the EMA 200 days, what's an important indicator. And yesterday we've seen a pullback. We have a big candle, big red candle. And let's see this session. The pre-market prices are trading within inside the value area, what we could read as a kind of indecision. So let's wait and see what the session will bring us, okay? Now I'm moving to my screen and let's, as we've been doing, let's read the flow, okay? Just a second. Okay, moving to my screen. Move to my screen here, I'm showing the daily chart. Where I've just mentioned here, we've touched the EMA. We did not even reach the simple moving average that is currently around 4068. 4068. So what grabbed my attention is that we did not make a higher top. We started yesterday correction, but we did not make here a higher top than the previous one that was in 4050.75. Okay, so considering the EMA here and not having reached there, it could be kind of alert for us. Here in this other chart, we see here this uptrend. We could build this channel. We could be this channel here, this uptrend channel. We failed, as I've mentioned, we almost reached there in the 4050. We failed in overcoming the region and we're heading downwards. Okay, so until the 9030, around 930, that is actually an important point, important region. You could say that we're still within this channel, but after it, trading below it, we could get alert and see, because below 3930 and especially 3910, 3912, we could see sellers trying to speed up this move downwards, and we could maybe see a bigger correction here. So this session is important, but I wouldn't be surprised considering that the three following days will be relevant, will be, as I mentioned, we'll have lots of important indicators such as PCE on Thursday and payroll on Friday, just to mention two of them. So it will not be a surprise if this session gets stuck within this value area from 3960 to 3998, that by chance are really important. Besides being this session value area, they are really important regions. So we just opened we just had the open. Let's see what's going. This here, this session, let me just adjust here. This region of 3966 and 3960 is really important. It has been relevant in many sessions. So since we're within this value area, it would not be a surprise if it get down, test there, and maybe move upwards. This would be a possibility. Remembering that today at 11, at 10 a.m., we had consumer confidence. So it's something that could also take the market. It can bring movement, or at least reduce liquidity, what means making price crazy. We can see from volumetric bars here that there's a huge seller's pressure. Huge is too strong, but we see the kind of imbalance here from sellers. So as we've stated, as we already know, this 65, 66 is actually important. Not reaching the 60 here down is it would be a sign of that at least temporarily we could try to move upward. But as I've mentioned, it would not be a surprise for me if we get stuck within the value area. Remembering that 70, 39, 70, 71 is also important region. It was actually important, and today the last close was 3970.25. So the close is something that definitely market looks at. And I like to see, as I've mentioned, I like to see this moving average, this exponential moving average in the 2-minute chart to see the short-term trend. And we're seeing that today it started below it, although it's from the regular trading hours. I just leave it and it continues. This moving average that we are seeing here, it's the continuity of yesterday's one. So here we're trading below it so far, and let's see if we're going to be able to trade above it and try to make higher tops and higher lows in a way that we can understand this as an uptrend. But so far, it's in this 3 minutes, it's facing difficult to overcome 70. We are here that buyers are trying in the volumetric bars. We can see that buyers are trying to push up, but sellers are absorbing here. So not being able or this difficulty here means that we could be kind of weak. Market could be kind of weak. You see here, we just make this after this absorption. There were only 12. The aggressions in 70-75 was only 12 contracts. That is to fill. So that is not a good sign. What does not mean that I would do something. I would not. In this very beginning, sometimes to choppy, it's hard to. But even having an important point, it's hard to bet in a trade like this. I prefer to see here moving to Superdon. I prefer to see something, or I would consider something if we here in the volumetric price in Superdon I had, for example, more than 1,000 contracts, 1,500. So this way would be better to consider. But here we have a few contracts, so it's hard to take into consideration. Let's see. But we're seeing that after trying to move there, it just returning to 70. Let's see if it will be strong enough to make simply a pullback here in 70 and move upwards again. We have here this pivot point, this pivot point in 39.85 that we could consider also as a we should also be alert to it during the night. Price hardly traded above it. After the Europe market opening, it moved up this, but it was not able to overcome the 90. That is also an important region. So we're seeing that even during the night, we could say market was not that strong. And actually now we're seeing that it facing difficulties to move up. So let's wait for developments and see if it's going to stay sideways. That is, it would definitely not a surprise at all, or if it would try to come downwards and try to lose the 60. But we're seeing that actually the 70 region that is less close is important one. We're seeing, we could say here, we start forming a range from the, let's see, probably it's going to fill up here to the 74. Let's see if we are going to establish a range here, because we see that here from 65.75, we can define this as the beginning of the range, and in the up end, it's difficult to say about the end of the range, but prices are working to build something here. What we're seeing here, I've mentioned about the 2-minute moving average. It's practically sideways now. So when it's sideways, I avoid to try to do anything around the average. When it's trending upwards or downwards, usually the moving average is a good region to watch out and try through the volumetric price here and down and volumetric bars. Try to find trades. We usually find something interesting there. We find through an exhaustion, a huge absorption. But when it's kind of sideways in such in the beginning of the session, it's hard to consider it because market's still trying to draw its limits. The same for the view up. I have also this the view up. The view up is missing this middle here. Well, in the 15 minutes, it has. Oh no, here it's getting formed probably in between. The view up in the beginning, it's something I like because it's the volume average price, volume weighted. Since it then it's really interesting. This is the average position of a big player of all the market, and so after 40 minutes, 1 hour, it start becoming an interesting reference. It could start becoming interesting reference. So moving average and view up, we can consider after some markets. View up is even, I would say that even demands even more time because we need to have a significant amount of contracts to have it drawn. But as we've mentioning, it's really suffering to overcome the 70 here. After doing the high on 74.75, it was not able to reach even there. The other candle was 73.25 and the other 2.25. So we are seeing the tops here are getting down. It's becoming to have it's to become to be lower than the other ones. So let's see what's going if we're going to see a breakout here or if we are going to see a false breakout. I mean, first try an exhaustion above the 74.75 and then price turning back. Let's see, we're seeing here buyers pressing up, but with the amount of contracts is few, we are not seeing sellers absorbing here. Sellers are not selling here. In this case, we could see at least a false breakout. Let's see if buyers will keep aggressions here and sellers will start absorbing, or sellers will disappear here and buyers will be able to move. Or even if sellers are going to make aggressions, that's not the case. So far, they are not doing this. We are seeing in this try from 70 to 73, we are seeing buyers more aggressive. Let's see if it's going to overcome 74.75. That was the the high here in the pre-market. Sorry, here in the regular trading hours. But it's not been easy. Do you see? Every time it tries to move up, we see buyers making pressure, but sellers absorbing here. So life of buyers, it's not been easy. And in this 12 minutes, 13 minutes practically, we are we are sideways. In this kind of market, what I usually consider doing is just after I have these limits clear, I think it's safer to try something. But unless you get some clarity, such as here, we have 2200, 22, 23, 24, 18, 18, 12, 18, 12, 14, then 500. This is something I like seeing. This considerable drop in the quantity. This means that even if buyers forced it there, they found liquidity, they found sellers. Then market tends to, every time it reaches there, to remember, we have memory, although many people say not, or the fundamentalists say not. Market has short and long-term memories. So what we're seeing is that actually it failed to move there and it's quickly heading. This is another indication I like to see. You've seen that buyers made lots of aggressions, spent lots of contracts, and prices was stuck there. It was not moving. And then after it seems that after they gave up, they stopped buying. Prices quickly moved down. Look at this below the 70, 70 to 63. Yeah, quick in a couple of seconds. So this usually shows me that that sellers are actually strong. Sellers are actually strong. But actually, I would not say that I would not be expecting necessarily a breakout here now. We could use this move to confirm whether we are making this range, because if we see lots of absorption here in 64 to 62 or even to 60, we could see after later prices moving up again through the range, but we drop it too fast now from 69 to 63. So it would be also hard to bet here, hard to do something here, right in the bottom of the range. It would be hard because it can, especially if you have a short stop loss. This could be uh, this could be dangerous to get stopped and then move favorable. That for me is the worst kind of stop. Is this kind. We did not see huge aggressions from sellers. They were seeing aggressions, but it's not that huge. There was also, since there was no huge aggressions, there were no huge absorptions, obviously. So what we're seeing, the first strong absorption and aggression was in 65. So let's see what is going to happen here. Price could try. Actually, price could try to make to turn back here in 65 again because 96, 66, 65, 66 has actually been important previously. So it could, let's see, if it's not reaching again 62 and start moving up, then we could say that at least on 70 we could find we could hope to see prices. But we're seeing that even though buyers are trying, sellers are absorbing. We're seeing selling absorption there. We're seeing that it's facing difficult. 70 was the previous barrier. Buyers was not succeeding in overcome. Now sellers start absorbing down under in 65. This is usually a sign of potentially continuity of the drop, but hard to bet just on this. And here in the chart, we're seeing the low. We're seeing the third candle. If you are not trading below the 62, if it not makes a new low here, it would be the third candle with a huge move down. Then we could this could increase the possibility of seeing prices heading upwards again. Let's see what's we've seen here in the 65. It's been really difficult to. It's becoming actually a big barrier, huge barrier for sellers, for buyers. Overcoming it. Let's see where it's going to be able to reach. If it will be able to overcome the 70. But right at this time, it seems different. It seems difficult. The, when you start seeing this kind of absorption, you see sellers were only absorbing buyers' aggression, but we start seeing the buyers' absorption. This is many times this is a sign that price could move up because the buyers are not only there are not only buyers' aggressions, but sellers try to make aggressions and buyers absorb it. So this is also interesting moves. If we try to lose here and we have an exhaustion or a quick exhaustion or something like this, then we, we could expect for a bigger movement upwards. For example, if we have a false breakout here on the 62.5, we see a low volume below it and then price quickly moving up. This could be a sign of. But even though with signs of buyer increasing presence here, this is a buyer's absorption. This situation, I wouldn't do anything. I wouldn't do anything based on it because we're within the range, and as I always mention, I could get quickly stopped, and then price move favorable, and this is not good. So we are seeing this 5-minute volumetric bar. Sellers are putting pressure, but we are seeing from 62.5 to 65 buyers absorbing all the aggressions. And now, such as happened in the up end, now we see buyers pressing, putting pressure, and failing to move price downward. Then let's see which side is going to happen, which side is going to win. You can see, I already explained it, but I use the 2-minute and 7 minutes volumetric bar. There's not a special explanation for it. It's just you see that changes. The 7 minutes have changed. So I have to mix. I like to have a mix here that if when one change the time frame and change the candle, I need to keep seeing what was happening in the other one. So this is such a kind of combination I found to be able to keep in what was happening. Sorry, see here, buyer's aggression here, kind of exhaustion here, but it was right in the low. We did not have a breakout. It would be safer to see an exhaustion after the breakout to try to eventually trade. But since we are trading below the moving average, it would be a risky trade here. So in this situation, especially you're seeing the market's tight. We are ranging from 63 to 6 within this range here now. So it's actually uh, the risk return doesn't worth. We would looking at 3 points to 3 points. It would be hard to make more than 3 points compared to 2 or 3 points top. But we're seeing here, this is we could say this is a kind of exhaustion. This is a clear we can see here on the right one. 700, 300, 243. This decreasing volume is a clear sign of exhaustion. Understood? But as it's the low end of the range, it's hard to believe in this kind of we are too tight, we're ranging. It's hard to trade this because we could buy the right place to buy would be rear or 64, and we are close to the top of this temporary range here. So, but anyway, technical speaking technically or in terms of education, we could this is a typical absorption. This is a typical exhaustion. So considering this profile in the low, or if we've seen this on the other side in the top, could be a signal of reversal. But look at here to the 2 minutes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 candles. For five candles, we are we're sideways. So it's sometimes you got tempted to do something, but we're seeing here in the lows, buyers are really trying to defend. Defense is trying to act here. Sellers are pushing and press, and the buyers are defending. We have this value area low here is 60.25. Anyway, the pressure was not even enough to put price there. It stopped here in 61. Does not mean it will stop here. But we've seen from the 62 to 61, we've seen sellers aggressions, but buyers started absorbing, it means they are going to defend. And if we see lots of trades in this region, we could reach to a point that sellers could give up spending contract here, and we could see buyers succeeding and putting price upwards. But this is something we never should anticipate. It's better to wait and see. But actually, this kind of chart, we now are 25 minutes. We have now 25 minutes of session. This kind of this kind of chart is the kind that I'm usually injure myself because we are sometimes I get trying to trade this range, and they are tight range, and you are searching for this for small targets, and it does not work. And sometimes even knowing, guys, sometimes even knowing, the most common in trading is to do something we are tired to know. We fully know that we shouldn't. So this configuration is a bit complicated, but what we're seeing is that actually prices are suffering to reach the 60. Let's see what's gonna happen. You see here, this buyer's aggressions, seller's aggressions here, and buyers absorb it. So considering this configuration, it would not be a surprise for me. Now I would start looking at the view up. We could start looking at the view up here, almost 30 minutes of session. Then I think that it does not mean that I anticipate something. I prefer, as always, I prefer to wait. Things getting drawn, market drawing. But now we could see something there. Many times what I like seeing is when moving average and view up, they coincides. They are in the same point. It becomes stronger. Remembering that we're 959. In 1 minute, we'll have the consumer confidence. But it seems we still have liquidity here. It does not seem that it could shake. Let's see if it's going to overcome here the 6-7 that is currently the view up. But anyway, anything that happens at this time of indicators, it's hard to be considered because it's tricky and it can start moving for one side and then suddenly revert. Let's see here in this level 2 in this depth of market. If we're seeing when our real important indicators, we see a dramatically reduction here. We are seeing here from 800 to 400. I'm not sure whether you are used to it, but it should be important to do so here. 200, 200, 300. Let's see how it will shake. In this case, with such a kind of indicator, not being able even with this increased volatility, sharpness, if price does not, if price fails in overcoming important regions, then for me increase the signal of the relevance of the region. For example, not trading consistently before 70 in such a situation would be a stronger signal that 70 is really important, and it could be actually be a barrier. We're seeing here absorptions from sellers. Let's see if it's going to pass. For me here, the number is 3973. That's the, here in the volume at price, you see the 1456 here. So it was the last struggle. You see that was not even able to reach there. And here we're seeing on the 70 again, sellers absorption. Okay, that sellers made aggressions and buyers absorbed here. But we are seeing, what we're seeing is lots of absorption from sellers in 70. If we start seeing sellers aggressions here and buyers absorption, this could be a clue for us that we could move a bit further upwards. Remember here we just crossed the 2-minute moving average. What, since it's kind of sideways, it does not mean that we're in an upward range. It would need to overcome last stop. But this indicator just reinforces that 70 region is actually important. Let's see. The top of the move was at 71.25 here. Kind of exhaustion we see here again, 400, almost 400, 227. When we see this zero here, it means that there were no buyers at the top. So it reinforces the, when you see a small number of contracts here and zero contracts here, this could be a pure exhaustion because buyers bought too few contracts, and it was not, there was no one, even one buyer interested in buying here. Price did not become so, did not did not overcome the 70 and trying to move downwards again. Let's wait and see whether it will be able to reach here the set 62, 62.5 at least. Something I like seeing, although even though I prefer to focus on regular trading hour figures, in the 15 minutes, I like to use the the market, including the night overnight, to see the big pictures because it's usual. Just a second, please. It's usual to see here. So this big trend in the 50 minutes. It's interesting to see. Sometimes when I see such a kind of big candle, it's such a big candle in 15 minutes is more relevant, and it's interesting that many times we see good trades. For example, here we in downtrend, and many times the 15 minutes move EMA here, 20 periods. It's not uncommon to find trades here, especially if we see when I have this moving average, and especially if I'm in a border, in a limit of the range, at the first time especially, and because you can actually have a breakout there, but at first or second time, you can definitely find a good trade. In this kind, sometimes, not always, but in this kind of trade, sometimes I leave a limit order there because maybe there's a strong rejection and it prices falls down 4 points suddenly, and then it's for my trading style it becomes too I would need to have a huge 3 4 points at least stop, and I'm not comfortable in doing this. So for example here, if we were moving up, we have here the moving average in 74. We have here the top of the range in 73 to 75. It seems that it could be respected. It was also the top here, the regular trading hour stop is 4.5. So in the very first move, it could try recovery. It could try a pullback, even though we are trying to start a trend moving upwards here. But then we are seeing, oh, this absorption here is a sign that price could not necessarily succeed, but we're seeing a sellers aggression, making aggressions here, and buyer buying. This could be a sign of at least a try to overcome. Let's see what's going to happen. From this time, from 66 to 71, happened the opposite that we've seen before. We've seen prices moving from 70 to 66 this way, 63 this way, with few contracts, and this is not good as well, because with so few moving the market with such a few number of contracts is huge, because if you enter in between, you can easily get stopped. But again, we are seeing, let's see, sellers tried to push price down, buyers were able to bring them up, and let's see if we are going to keep seeing absorptions here. Again, this does not mean that we should. I believe this is a good signal of a potential breakout, but it definitely does not mean that I would do something here or maybe buy here, because it can stop me down and then move, as I've been saying. In this scenario, what I could do, but we see again an exhaustion in 2.2025. It's been there's here actually struggle here. This is reinforcing the relevance of the region. Let's see if they were going to be able to succeed. But as you may see, they did not even reach in the last try. We have 3.25, 2.75, 3.25, and 375. We are not reaching those. We are making the second candle here, and we are not reaching those points. This means that buyer's life is not being easy. It's actually dangerous to risky to try to sell here with this kind of absorption, but it would not be a surprise with this fail to overcome 73. It would not be a surprise if we get moved downwards quickly. Let's see, you see that buyers keep trying. But keep trying, but it's not been easy. But we're seeing this left column here that sellers, it's not been easy now also for sellers. Buyers are facing difficult to push price up, but buyers are absorbing sellers' aggressions here. So this is kind of situation that is risky to try, even when ranging. Okay, but it's in a range. This is a top of the range. Okay, but seeing this kind of absorption makes me uncomfortable in trying to trade this range, try to sell here. Could it work? Sure, definitely, but it's risky. But if it moves below the 70, then quickly move up and with few contracts and exhaustion takes place, then I could consider kind of false breakout. And then this kind of, after such a long struggle, then I could consider. But what we've been seeing is that buyers spending lots of contracts and failing to push prices up as before. And let's see if we are going to see the previous facts happening again. When moving down, sellers were succeeding, were more successful and quickly pushing prices down. Let's see what's going to happen. Let's see here. We just reached 665. Let's see if we are going to move to 72 and see an exhaustion there, for example. Let's see what, for example, 72.25, 72.25 here. If we see few contracts from 72, 71.5 and 73, few contracts and exhaustion could be a signal that we could maybe trigger a turn back, a stronger move downwards. Let's see what's going. I'm going to stay here for more 15 minutes, around 15 minutes until 10:30. Okay, and let's see what's gonna happen until there. So it's moving down again. Did you see? It struggles. It's hard to. It's really hard to pass the 7-1. There's several minutes struggle. You see two, three, four candles, and when moving down, players sellers do it easily. So this I try to avoid getting biased, but this usually shows me that sellers tend to be stronger than buyers. But now as well here they reached 60.5. It was the previous low before it reached 61. So now failing to trade below the 72 here, the 62 here, configuring this kind of this figure, this draw this pattern here, we could have a more comfort that could actually be ranging. So we could try something from 62 to 72 to 3, 72 or 3. But anyway, it would be safer to wait some decision. In the recent market, it's been more common to have this kind of decision. I usually call it decision during the afternoon. Sometimes morning gets stuck, get tight and hard to trade. Try to become fine in this range or trying to do this is really tricky. And around 1 or 2 p.m. market takes one side and move. Sorry, I just got a message of problem transmission. It seems it's okay. Then during the afternoon, it's been usual that it choose a side and we have bigger movements that usually gives us best risk return. You've seen that if it tried to move down, was not able to make the low, and now it's moving upwards again. And it quickly moved up. So in this scenario, not have reaching here the low, it's again not that comfortable to trade this range because this could bring some comfort to buyers to try to push up. But let's see where they're going to be able to put prices. It's again facing difficult to overcome 70. Let's see if it's going 72 or 73. Now it reached 72 with few contracts, but we are not seeing sellers showing up here. It did not even reach the high. But we're seeing this green candle and a big candle here. It's hard to trade against this kind of candle. So should buyers start absorbing here in 72, 73, this could be risky to trade the range at this time. Here you see here, this time sellers were facing difficult before to overcome 70. Now buyers were able to push up to 73 and even absorbed here. Look at this absorption. Let's see if they're going to push price up. Being able to move up means that now they have a huge appetite, big amount of contracts to be bought, to buy. Let's see what's going to. But we see here that in 73.5, we just had 30. It's hard when you see this kind of try of a breakout and see only 30. We should see here if we should a huge absorption, a huge aggression of buyers and maybe absorbed by sellers. But 30 contracts, 100, 149, it's too few to expect a breakout. In this sense, if it had broken out, it could be a false one because it would be with a few amount of contracts. So let's see here. We are seeing sellers trying to push price down. Let's see if they're going to succeed. I forgot to mention here. Did you see here? I was telling about I forgot at the time it reached the 73. Look at here, the 15 minutes moving average. It reached the 73.5 and the moving average was in 73. After 73, it moved down to 69 or 68. It means that I could do something there depending on the situation, but as I've mentioning, it's worth looking at this average, this longer average, so we can. Other one I also want to like to see the 5 minutes. Where is it? 5 minutes here. 5 minutes. Because sometimes I got too concentrated in 2 minutes. Sometimes it's tricky. We are losing. We're doing doing bad or in unnecessary trades in the 5 minutes. Usually show us something. Look at here. The moving average from 5 minutes is on 76. This do not mean that I would do something here, because especially if we finish with such a big candle, green candle here. But sometimes you are in a mess, this mess here in the 2 minute, but 5 minute get things a bit clear. And so sometimes it's better to consider it. Now it's on 76. Let's see if it's going to respect the region, or if it's going to. The high is 74.75. Let's see if it's going. Now would be the time to. We're seeing buyers forcing, trying to push up, but was not able to reach even the 70, 74, 75. Let's see. Let's see what's going to happen. But we are always seeing this buyers aggression and sellers absorbing. Look at here again, 72. Buyers are really trying, even with aggressions and absorptions. But it's been quite strong. In a downtrend, this situation of so many tries, this could actually, obviously, this would move up. But after trying so many times, we could see a return as well. But now prices are trading in levels above the previous ones, above the 70. So we could expect something, maybe would not be a surprise to see a breakout here. And then if it happens, we could say that next target would be around, I would say, 85, 88. Here we have the pivot points at 88, 84, 85. So we could, and 88 was actually an important region. So being able to overcome this, we would be actually in an uptrend, that we could see the 39.98 as at least a first final target, kind of final target. But we could also see some resistance here in 85, 88. Okay. But in this case, we would have probably no, almost certainly, the moving average moving upwards here, pointing upward, and then it would be better to try something, to try to find in a long trade close to the moving average than trying to sell here in the right in the pivot point, or 98, 88. But what we're seeing is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're in the fifth candle and we was not able even to reach the 74.75. It's actually strong, but it's hard to spend such an amount of contracts and spend more than 10 minutes to move up. So guys, I'm not sure if it's your first time here, but if so, I would appreciate if possible to 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 read some a comment of you if it's working, if it's been useful for you. This sharing of thoughts, this narration of the market, if it's been helpful, if you just make a quick note, and if you really like, if you could give a like, it also helps us. Let's stay more 5 minutes, 4 or 5 minutes. And so it seems that we are going to. It's not be a surprise if we keep some time more in this range. And failing here, this could probably try to move downwards again and test the 62, 62.5, 62.5 again. And it would be interesting to see how it would behave here in the 70, in the 70 if it, because as I stated before, it was important as well. We now start seeing here, I like to see the volume profile, and as the day goes, we can see. I really like to see this profile. Sometimes in the morning, it's a messy. We see lots of teeth here, and this is not good. It's sometimes it's misleading, but from we are reaching 1 hour, but 2 3 hours, sometimes it gets clearer here. So I like to see this profile and to see if you have clear limit of the ranges, such as we're seeing here from 73 to 70 and down under in 65, 66 to 63. So this is something. So this is something. This is something definitely worth looking at. Just taking the opportunity. Some guys have already gone, but on Thursday, I intend to carry out another one, and we could stay together here again. Let's see here. We have this. Look at here. This downtrend line here in this 15 minutes. We're in 78 here. With such a huge green candle, it's hard to think in doing something. But especially after a breakout such like that one. But it would not be a surprise if we see a rejection here. Did you see? Let's see if it's going to even reach or pass through the. But here in 77, 76 it's been an important region before as well. So it could face difficulties to overcome here. Look at this absorption, 7700 contracts. Let's see if it's going to succeed in overcoming. Anyway, since we're kind of start trending here, it's difficult to make something counter trend, even though we have this line. So I have my background is technical for more than 15 years. I just look at charts, lines, indicators, and mixing the techniques improved my precision in entries and exits. But in this scenario, I would not. I think actually no one would with such a green bar would try to go against it. But So then let's see whether it's going to reach the 85. I'd say that would be hard to pass straight through the 85 or 85, 88. But did you see after 2 hours, after 1 hour ranging, when it overcame the 72, this was already been drafted with those absorptions, those buying absorptions, sellers buyers absorbing sellers aggressions. This was showing us that actually could be possible breakout. Here we see again buyers tried, but at 79 they found buyers. Sellers tried to push down, but at 79 found buyers here. And there was also a huge absorption. This kind of absorption, when we are trending, this kind of absorption is usually good signs to enter. Here I would say I would look at this 77. That was the highest volume. Let's see if it's going to, because if maybe this could not even reach in 77 here, but sometimes it could feel we could feel this gap up from 77 to 79. Try to trade below it, failing and then moving up. Then this would be a good entry for a long trade. That anyway could have as target the 85, 84. That is close to the end. Let's see here if it's going to succeed in trading below the 77. If there's an exhaustion, ideally the 73 would the safer point. Huh? Being able to failing to enter this congestion, this range would be a safer sign. Well, okay, guys, I'm finishing the transmission here, not to get that bigger. Thank you for watching. Hope it's been helpful for you since it's kind of a bit different perspective. I'm happy to share. And have a nice day. Okay. Thanks.